Remember how it was all like the National Guard's going to be coming to Michigan here soon? I wonder what the reason's going to be, how it's all going to, like, how that's going to play out. Yeah, well, here we go. We have our reason. Some bullshit, fake ass event. The Mormon church and all this other bullshit. I'm so tired of it all. And of course, it's a military guy, and it's a white guy. And when it's a white guy and it's a military guy, there's no calls for, like, gotta remove those white guys. Gotta get rid of the white guys. Because the white, to give the go-ahead for the National Guard to come through, and then that'll be that. We won't hear too much about it. We won't hear too many deep details into it. 40-year-old white military man, doing his job, doing what he's told to do. I mean, think about it. Let's say you're a father, or you're whatever it is. You're just a single man, whatever. And I don't know, say you have a gambling problem or some shit like that. And they say, listen, you got to pay this $100,000, $200,000. We're not going to give you any more credit. You got to pay this shit now, or we're going to kill, your family. Not just you. Kill you. We don't get the money back. You say, well, I'm not going to be able to come up with this. I don't know what the hell you want from me. I'm just a normal person. How am I going to come up with $100,000 or whatever? And they say, all right, well, how about this? You want to keep your family safe? You got to do this. You got to go drive your truck into the church, shoot 2 people, light the thing on fire. And like the news is just, this is just one attack, and who knows if this isn't an attack on the community itself, and blah, blah, blah. We're gonna, It's insane. It's kind of like Dave Smith, right? Completely changing subjects. And actually, I was going to call my video this Dave Smith to begin with, but I changed my mind. But Dave Smith is the Jewish comedian who is fucking everywhere talking about Israel. And to me, the idea that there's this Jewish comedian who is allowed to be on everything, Piers Morgan, and like, I didn't even know who this guy was prior to his Israel stuff. I know he's been a comedian for a long time, and maybe I've seen a clip of something with him in it or whatever, but he was nobody I paid any attention to. And now all of a sudden he's our voice. And I'm sorry, but when you're a Jew, and I just don't believe you. I don't believe that you are, you can't be somebody that wants to fix the problem and still identify as a Jew. Like, if this Dave Smith was like, yeah, I born into this Judaism bullshit, but it's just another pressed, and it's disgusting, and I hate it, and there might be something there. Guys like Ari Shafir, they like Dave Smith, Ari Shafir, they always do the same shit whenever they're, because their whole thing is that they tell, especially Ari Shafir. Ari Shafir is just an asshole. He's the Don Rickles of today. And there's always a Don Rickles. There's always, they always have one of their guys that does this, that says the racist shit. And he says the racist stuff, and he's edgy, and he talks about everybody. He doesn't just talk about this group or that group. But at the end of the day, the shit he says about Jewish people is like, those Jews and all their money, power, and control, oh, you know, it's just coincidence, I'm sure, that his big comedy special, I believe it's called Goy, but I'm not real sure. I can't remember. But his comedy special was released the same week as Kanye. You know, maybe it was the end of the week, whatever. But shortly after Kanye first said such horrible things, DEFCON, he's gonna go DEFCON 3. Are you sorry about that, Kanye? Do you want to maybe walk those statements back? And Kanye's like, I'm sorry that there are Jewish children that like my music that had to hear the adult conversation and we were yelling a little bit. Like, stop it. Why won't anybody fucking address this for what it is? Other than they're all doing their fucking jobs, man. At this point, I just don't believe anybody that's allowed to be on TV. Anybody I'm told I should be looking at. Especially if they're Jewish. But Kanye, I told you guys, I wrote the Kanye Deception. The Kanye Deception being one of my favorite songs of ours, actually. Because you're you are not posh. Y-O-U-R, an idiot. It's just fucking wild, man. It's crazy to think this is what's happening here. You know? And so Ari Shaffir's his comedy special that got all of the eyes on it. If you actually pay attention to the Jews,
it's Kyrie
and the Jews,
the trickery is genius while they have the goy confused. They overstate the word while they control the earth. It's Kanye, it's Kyrie and the Jews.
Had to scratch those words out.
I almost fell for Kanye and the great Semitism deception, but he's just a clever con and they are teaching us a lesson. Since at our first impression, he looks like the bad guy. Based on their definitions,
Truth is just so bad. Some people now have sad eyes,
crying, foul, and whining. But if they're so freaking mad, why aren't they just defining exactly what they're finding?
So you goddamn
offensive.
So you
the lives they're
goddamn
relentlessly mining seem desperately repetitive, which is why they hand out sedatives like they are goyim candy. If you don't believe their rhetoric, you can't fall for what they're planning, since the timing is the fanning of their genius conspiracy fire. You think you have an understanding of someone spitting through the wire? But Kanye's the attire falling flat when it's on you. He's someone you admire as long as no one's in the room. And now he's bringing the kaboom to who we know owns the collection, while the tops of the upper deck consume our medium of truth detection. Look over here, no, look over there. Look at the book they cook and prepare. Keep the shit and beware. The crooked say beat. These crooks are impaired, they have a certain belief. Look over here, no, look over there. The American boy is still a boy to be fair. So the boy going where he employs us to go. It's a ploy to be paired with us, knowing our role. Ari Sharif's a racist, but it's considered comedy. And
I thought his name was Ari Sharif.
Pays this chosen pod to tell you honestly how Kanye's justice is obvious.
Have you seen this new Kanye that's supposedly like walking back his statements? I don't know. I haven't actually looked into it, but I know he supposedly changed the wording of "Hail Hitler, nigga" to like some.
Look over here. No.
Oh, we came back. Didn't realize we came back. The numbers were getting too high, so they had to fuck the feed up. Not in the bubble that's around my house, so they had to do something else, I guess. It's really interesting to see it, to experience it.
Were actually outed as evil. They were simply since Kanye's only flame paints them as in charge. It's amazing such a tiny flame can burn a whole dog by so large. But the captains of that barge called Israel their own plate. They own both teams, the parks, and all the marks who spark the hate. See, if they control the whole debate, then the winner doesn't matter. Just like in the Kanye case, and then how Dave explained the patterns. You know, with his clever, witty banner, so there's just no room to question. He said, focus on who is throwing the tantrums when a controversial truth is mentioned, since they're quick to bring the henchmen to scream. Look over here. They have them waiting on the benches, then shalom, they just appear. By using stars aligned with fear, they steer the course we follow. Meanwhile, no one's holding up a mirror to the supremacist Israeli sorrow. And while controlling our tomorrow starts with their change today, the load we choose to swallow decides if we're sad
or gay.
Look over here, no, look over there. Look at the books they put it there. These crooks are impaired, they have something to believe. Look over here, no, look over there.
Look at this. We have the trolls on here stroking each other.
At the end of the day, you need to remember
because they can't get anything right, so they need to stroke each other.
Time when what some call a man-made hurricane seemingly targeted an area where lots of black people live and subsequently refugees in their own country. Kanye West called the United States a racist.
The whole thing is just getting to be so weird. It's so weird to see, and maybe this is just like, this is what has to happen in order to actually get to the place we're going. We have to go through these growing pains and shit. But it's really wild, man. It's really wild how people want to talk about it, but they're just so programmed. And then there's the Christian, undoubtedly fucks with their heads, and you see how it's all connected. And how do we actually defeat this narrative without defeating it as a whole? If you think that religion, God, Christianity, like it's so frustrating. It is. It's just so frustrating to see how so many people think the answer is God. You have to have God. You have to God, and it's like, dude, what? How are you so stupid? How do you not know anything about what you believe? I mean, it's so in your face, and it's so obvious and in your face, and you can tell just in the fact that people can't have the discussion, they can't have the argument. It's really crazy. These Jews are they're just insane. The whole thing is insane. The world we live in is insane. And like this guy, Dave Smith, again, why would he be allowed on he is everywhere. I guarantee he's made more money in the last year than he ever has combined in his career. And he's this guest speaker on all these different talk shows, and he's the guy that goes again. But, you know, and people try to claim it's not all Jews, it's not all Jews. You're just nuts, man. It's not all NAMBLA members are bad. Not all NAMBLA. Yeah, they are. They're fucking horrible. we're I don't care if you well, I don't personally take part in the genocide of the Palestinians. Yeah, but doesn't your support allow it to exist? Isn't it your support that's making it such a prominent thing? And the thing is, like I always say, if the Jews were the ones that were coming out and saying something, it would be a different story, but they're not. I stand by the fact that I'm the savior to the Jewish people. I am your savior. You should be worshiping me. You should be grateful that I'm here. I am the savior of the Jewish people. At least I would be if I was allowed to be. Because apparently there aren't any Jews out there that are furious at the whole child rape thing. And there's nobody, like, I can imagine that there was something that child rape is a part. I just don't understand that thought process. And I could I don't do it, but my organization does it all the time, and it's me and my blind faith that allows the organization to do its thing. But still, I don't do it, so I'm not guilty. This dude is walking to work, and he's got a can of beer in his hand. Wow.
If that was your kid, you'd freak out. I want to ride with mileage and someone who knows the route. So why is Holly weird, so stout, constantly pushing the opposite? It's almost like they're disgustingly proud of the fact they're raping lots of kids while they give us that apostle shit. They program us.
Other things you don't hear anybody talking about. Like, you hear people... No, he wasn't. I mean, the little bit of turning on Israel that Charlie's supposed to be doing doesn't really stand up to scrutiny. And if he wasn't just reading the script, he wasn't turning on them as he's supposed to. This person is driving with their foot on the brake. What the fuck? Why are there so many people that do that? So weird.
That we are done being dumb. It's time the chosen choose to run. Let's cancel the Godfathers.
But the whole Charlie thing, like, it doesn't get talked about properly. People will talk about, like, one piece, or they'll talk about another piece, but when it comes to the reality of the situation, they just don't put it all together. To me, it's very obvious what happened. It's very obvious that Charlie was a sacrifice that's why we know who Charlie is. Charlie was a sacrifice from the beginning. They built Charlie to sacrifice him because they're not going to take out their own. Just that simple. They might take out their own Hannibal directive style, but they're not going to take out their own in this kind. They're not going to have some... I mean, it just doesn't fit. And it makes so much sense that they would, they built him. They built him to kill him. Because if you look at Charlie's donor list, it's all Israeli. It's Israel top to bottom. Yeah, there are some other goofy ass, but nothing in comparison. And he turned down the offer to double the investment by Netanyahu. Netanyahu offered to give him $150 million, and he turned it down because the organization's $140 million was enough. But I think people just don't like. There's a lot of guys. I was watching this other guy today. He makes these great videos where it's like he plays both sides. He'll be like, "We have the right to defend ourselves," but you're killing innocent children. But they had the like he makes good videos. I don't know how to fucking do this. Goofy. Blue. What's his name? Redbone or something. I don't remember his fucking name. But I'm watching him do a breakdown of Ben Shapiro. Or not of Ben Shapiro, of Nick Fuentes. And he's like, Nick Fuentes is crashing out. And like, it's really strange how people haven't gotten to the Hollywoodism aspect of things yet. It's so difficult to actually talk about all of this without, I don't know where people stop their thinking at. I know a lot of people stop their thinking, their question gets to the religious part of things. That's what means that people haven't quite grasped the idea that all of it, everything that you're fed, is part of their bullshit. And that you really should, why would you ever believe the historical narrative? Why do you think that they're not lying to you on every fucking level possible? Did you fart or something? It stinks in here. You farted. Why is Guy always so angry? Why is he always so mad? So what? The children are being raped and destroyed and tortured and genocided. Why does that make you so mad? Why don't you just be like me? I don't care about other people. I don't care about other things. Silly, man. All you do is make my arguments that much easier. My whole side of this is that much easier because of your stupidity. TBG is so good. They're so good. I totally get why they censor us. If people actually had this voice for them to say they could get behind this, they knew about this, it would be incredible. Look at, here we go. I give you something to focus on because, it's not like you can address the things I'm talking about. You guys are just so ridiculous. But it's all Jews. They can deny being Jews all day. They can deny being Israelis all day. They're not going to tell you what they're here for, or if they do, it's something like goofy, like, oh, I'm here to save your soul, or some shit. These guys are just, it's desperation, right? The desperation that comes with the inability, the lack of education. You don't even know what you're. You are mostly plant-based and pescatarian. Blah, 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 blah. at how stupid this is, man. Oh, we got down to 3 watchers, so now is the feed gonna be allowed to exist? Really feels like if we get higher than 70 viewers, they start shutting the feed down. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy what's going on.
Those happy days were crappy nights. Waxing on and off his proxy. The darkness hiding in the light. Highly weird to Ponzi. He's selling. We should kick it like karate. They have us laughing at the fight. Hemorrhoids on me.
Gee, it must be me doing it.
The darkness hiding in the light.
What do you need to see that this is the reason? The interference in the guys that are supposed to like the Nick Fuenteses and shit like that. If you look at their comments, they never get any sort of boot. They never get into interference. That part's never the case.
When truth is fun, where you come, but we know one trick. It's time we run fed by drums, appearing like we're phony. Since those of you who know me grow to show no resignation when the princes were exposing old the glow of desperation. And while the chosen TV stations put in place and pushing program keeps education of the age slow hands. The landscape is a no man's plan kept safe from Goyim eyes. If we stand up straight to their programs,
the feed is choppy. Now I'm muted. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Oodles of proof that the noodles in that bowl are the kitten caboodle of truth. The unusual fruit shooting up in the garden approved the excuses they're using to pardon the criminals hardened by yarn and creating the margins. The Russian but we was given making the vision to this should be cool. Our existence is ruled by ghouls and blaming their children, blaming their nonsense, remaining in no win situation.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm told my could be nerfed, but if I focus on the topical, you'll see why all my shit is yours, still drunk on ignorance. Most only want their sausage pulled, ignoring where the finger is. So focusing on the bigger fish, it may seem like give a pass to the Muslims.
My buddy, I sent him the lyric. I sent him the link. This is what happened. So. Check the link for all. Check the description for all the links and have yourself. You pedophiles, you kill yourself.